As feared, Dodgers pitcher Emmit Sheehan had Tommy John surgery. It was only a matter of time before Swaggy P dragged D'Angelo Russell, and the Rams have almost completed signing their draft class. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is May 17th, 2024. I'll be on my way home in a few hours. Totally can't wait. In the meantime, we are going to be talking a lot about starting pitching today because it matters, not just for LA, but for baseball in general. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. By the way, I know there's background noise. Did my best to eliminate it. Sucks for us. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Cincinnati 7, Dodgers 2. The Dodgers are on a losing streak of 2 games. Gavin Lux drove in both runs for LA. They still lead the division by 7 games, so worrying is not a particularly prudent idea. Meanwhile, today, Cincinnati's at the Dodgers at 7. James Paxton is 5-0 with a 2.58 ERA. Frankie Montas, 2-3 with a 4.20 ERA. But let's get to the news. I am not saying that I'm right about everything in this world. Far from it. But if you guys remember, when the Dodgers shut down Emmit Sheehan during spring training, they were telling us it was nothing to worry about, right? Oh, it's just a forearm strain. He'll be pitching any day now. No worries. Wrong. I told you that it was most definitely going to be something to worry about because it sounded to me like Sheehan was going to need Tommy John surgery. Check the receipts because Sheehan did, in fact, have Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year and out for most of next year, which sucks because he had a terrific debut last year, and he was scheduled to be in the rotation this year. Now, how did I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm no longer have skin in the journalism game. I don't comb sources in the catacombs at Dodger Stadium. But what I do know is that Tommy John surgery is about replacing the ulnar collateral ligament, which is linking ligament that links the elbow to the wrist on the pinky side of your forearm. The Dodgers coaches teach a lot of split-fingered fastballs. They teach a lot of sweepers. The grip on a pitch like that, take an iPhone, hold it between your index finger and your middle finger. You're going to feel a strain on the UCL, and you haven't even thrown the phone yet. Now imagine throwing a series of iPhones at 96 miles an hour with that grip. It's only going to be a matter of time before that ligament goes boing. The Dodgers are fortunate. They are. Because they have such depth in pitching that they have a pretty strong actual rotation and arguably an even stronger rotation that's on the injured list. Virtually any major league team would love to have a rotation of former All-Star Tony Gonsolin, first-time ballot Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, Bobby Miller, Emmit Sheehan. Now, not all of them had Tommy John surgery, but 3 did. Kershaw, Miller, and May, by the way, are expected to pitch at some point this year. So the Dodgers' depth isn't being strained per se, but it does make you wonder. A lunkhead like me, 2 time zones away from Chavez Ravine, shouldn't be predicting Tommy John surgeries. What does that tell you? It tells me that blasting out your UCL is becoming so common that it's becoming an epidemic. And it goes beyond the Dodgers. Many elite pitchers are now getting their arms carved open in the majors, in the minors. And what is the effect, right? Why is this happening? Have you noticed that articles come out in the national press lately claiming that the pitch clock is playing a role? That you have to get rid of the ball so fast that you're not using good mechanics and risking injury when you throw the ball. Now, that could be part of it. It could. But I would also argue that a big part of the reason is analytics nerds are huge on spin rate for pitchers. The idea that how much a baseball spins will tell you how much of the break on a pitch could be. More spin, more action, more strikeouts. What this means, though, is because of this quest for the strikeout, you're going to see more goofy grips on the ball that are going to strain the forearm and lead to the ulnar collateral ligament just bursting into flames. In my opinion, that's going to lead further to some very ugly trade-offs and even uglier public relations for baseball. Baseball teams are going to have to ask Commissioner Rob Manfred for an expanded roster, in my opinion, so that they can go to a 6-man rotation, maybe even a 7-man. Have you noticed that the Dodgers are doing whatever it takes to make sure their pitchers only go once a week? Yoshinobu Yamamoto, for example. And by the way, further, it would not surprise me to see a report, either one commissioned by the Players Union or commissioned from a player agent, will come out sometime in the near future that will blast everything in baseball, from the commissioner to the front offices to the pitching coaches, saying that it's all their fault for injuring their clients, for making their clients have to go under the knife and miss years on their career, costing them tens of millions of dollars. And that report is going to suck a lot more than the ones that suggest that baseball games are too long. Because nobody's going to want to put their kids in a game where they're probably going to wind up having their arm explode. Better to spend an extra 5 minutes in a game to get a good grip on a pitch than to watch somebody's ligament just explode into the luxury box behind home plate. There is a problem with pitching in Major League Baseball. It's just not being dealt with. And that's the memo. Elsewhere with the Dodgers, throughout April, if you follow baseball, you were told about how the Dodgers lost out by sending Michael Busch to the Chicago Cubs. Now, don't get me wrong, Busch is doing just fine. I have no problem with him or with that. But those articles were written as if the Dodgers didn't have anyone else in their farm system, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Gavin Stone, Andy Pages are all performing above expectations, so The Athletic took a look at the state of the Dodgers minor leagues, which is ranked 3rd by them among all major league clubs. They took a look at players in terms of exceeding expectations, who's right on track, who's falling behind. Now, I'm not going to go through all the players, that would take way too long, but we have talked about some of these guys before, so let's see where they are. Of the ones who are exceeding expectations, infielder Austin Gauthier is having a breakout season in AAA Oklahoma City. He started the season at AA Tulsa. It's not out of the question that he could make an appearance for the Dodgers by the end of the year. Catcher Dalton Rushing and outfielder Miguel Vargas have been hitting well, but their problem, where the hell would they play if they make it to LA? Will Smith signed a 10-year contract at catcher. That knocks out Rushing. The Dodgers would need a spot in the outfield to open up for Vargas. On the minus side, catcher Diego Cartaya was once considered a top 10 prospect, but he's gotten off to another slow start. Josue De Paula may have been passed up on the totem pole by Gerald Perez. Both are playing at Rancho Cucamonga, both are teenagers, but Perez has 5 home runs, where De Paula has just 1. I'm kind of amazed, baffled even, that it took this long for Nick Young to react to the Lakers getting bounced in the playoffs. Because if there's one person that you know would never let go of a grudge, it's Swaggy P. Has a grudge against the Lakers, definitely has a grudge against D'Angelo Russell. Here's what he said, quote, "I was making fun of Darvin Ham, but the Lakers depended on D'Lo, and that's just... You're asking to lose. What do you expect? They put their faith in the snitch, and the snitch let you down," unquote. Now, I can't say I blame Russell, or I should say I can't blame Young for calling D'Angelo Russell a snitch, because by definition, D'Angelo Russell is a snitch. He videotaped Young bragging about cheating on Iggy Azalea years ago and posted it online. Understand, I'm not sure if Nick Young will ever come to terms with the fact that he's crazy. First of all, he did cheat on Iggy Azalea, and then he copped to it on a camera phone. That's nuts. Guys, let this be a lesson to every male in all four corners of the globe. If you are stupid enough to cheat on your girl, do not confess on an iPhone. Don't do it. It's not the brag. It is not what we're talking about. Not to mention the fact that the guy nicknamed himself, which is pretty damn cuckoo, I might add. Crazy guy calls another guy a snitch. That's hilarious. By the way, stories are circulating about which candidate has the lead for the Lakers coaching gig, and I am not going to handicap that race. Who cares? The Rams have only one player unsigned from their draft class. That would be first-round defensive end Jared Verse. It's but a formality in the sense that there's an amount of money slotted for each pick. The NFL created it as a way to keep rookie salaries under control. There's not going to be a dramatic holdout. Verse is going to play. Speaking though of the defensive line, Michael Brockers went to social media to announce his retirement from the NFL. He played mostly for the Rams in his 11-year career. He was a first-round draft pick by the St. Louis Rams in 2012. He and Aaron Donald were the foundation of a terrific defensive line for the Rams back then. Brockers eventually played 2 years in Detroit, did not play last year. And defensive back coach Aubrey Pleasant has been promoted to assistant head coach. Here's a very interesting little note about LA Galaxy. It is true that the team spent a ton of money to bring in wingers Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsill, both in transfer fees and in salaries. But their combined salaries is still less than what was entirely paid to Chicharito Hernandez in 2023 by the prior front office. So, more production, more speed, less pay. Assistant coach Trent Yawney and the Kings have mutually agreed to part ways. Now, in the press release, it said, and I quote, "Thank you." And I had to read it 3 times in order to realize that Yawns was actually the poor bastard's nickname. The other thing I remember from the press release is that a replacement will be sought after a head coach has been hired. Now, I don't want to go overboard on the speculating, but that kind of hints to me that Jim Hiller isn't getting the gig. The USC basketball coaching staff has been completed. Former Washington assistant Quincy Pondexter, not Poindexter, Pondexter, will be the 5th assistant coach on the staff. He played 8 seasons in the NBA, by the way. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about the state of starting pitching in Major League Baseball, particularly with the Dodgers. And tell me if you are on Team P or Team D-Lo. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking about LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Porta El Queso production. Take care.